I'm starting on Chapter 4. The acronym ERL was etched in a huge concrete slab sitting bolt upright on the lawn. It greeted all who approached the main gateway to the grounds of the Energy Resource Laboratory Reserve. Behind a vine-covered, highly secure fence, which stretched through the eucalyptus, lay at least a dozen look-alike brick buildings. Some were 3 stories high, some only 2, but all were massive. They lay among beautiful manicured grounds with circling, intertwining roads and walkways leading to a spacious parking lot. Government money well spent. Well spent or not, it bore testimony to the orderly, didactic mind of the Director of Operations, Dr. Leopold Heffel. He was a tall, humorless, irritating, and quite impatient man of about 50. And today would not be one of his better days. Today he was meeting with General Stilson and his aides, and the convoy that accompanied the command car to ERL shortly after the sun broke. Soldiers armed with automatic weapons planted themselves inside and outside the administration building. What had happened, it seemed, was that Heffel had been aroused out of a sound sleep at 3 in the morning. For a man who could not function without the usual 8 hours, this was discomfiting. The voice he heard was Stilson's. It was a commanding voice, a voice to be obeyed. It spoke in the name of the Joint Chiefs, National Security, and the White House. Heffel's best brains would be in a secure ERL conference room no later than 0700 that morning. No later. His keenest, sharpest people. No questions asked. A matter of highest priority. Heffel made the necessary phone calls, then brewed coffee for himself and thought, what was that all about? Well, the night was shot. He couldn't go back to sleep. He shaved, showered, and drove off in his car. At 0700 exactly, he and 10 of his finest minds flanked a long table in the administration building. A bolted, double-locked steel box rested directly in front of the general, who stood at the table's head, buttressed by his aides. Taking it all in from a ledge outside the window was a cat. Dr. Heffel made the introductions. Dr. Roberson of Caltech, General, our expert in fossil fuel. Professor Hirakwa of Johns Hopkins. Dr. Elizabeth Bartlett, whose head's thermal. The woman in her mid-20s was considered a comer in scientific circles. She nodded, but received no response from the general. But then it was hard to tell what really went on behind the general's sunglasses. The fact that Bartlett was beautiful, young, and well-proportioned made no apparent impression on the officer. But who knew? Stilson was a hard-nosed and one-tracked. Perhaps he was only thinking, no diversions today, but other days? And over here, added Dr. Heffel, Dr. Carl Link, who's doing some inspiring research in garbage. He turned towards Link, or where the man had been sitting. Link was at the far end of the room, speaking in the phone in a low, husky voice. "Dr. Link!" cried Heffel. "Only a second, Dr. Heffel," said Link, relaying classified information to a colleague. Only a second. Dr. Link was a tall, laconic man in his late 30s, whose pleasant face seemed to mask an imaginative mind. He turned his back to the others and cupped the mouthpiece. "Right, Ernie," he almost whispered. "The Lakers by 1.5 points. When will you have the line on the Knicks and the Phillies?" "And Professor Denby, who's in ocean movement," continued Dr. Heffel. The cat moved stealthily along the ledge and hopped onto an adjoining window. It fronted on the washroom adjoining the conference room. On the cat's neck the collar began to warm, then gleam. The window slid up noiselessly. The creature dropped onto the washroom floor as the window shut without a sound. Now he stared up at the doorknob. He could hear ERL's chief of operations in the adjoining room. The door between the washroom and the conference room opened and the cat entered. Not a soul witnessed this. Instinctively, the animal selected the most comfortable resting place, a cushion on a leather couch, then tilted one ear toward the conversation. Dr. Keystone, whose head nuclear, and over here, Mr. Rupert Stallward, who heads up procurement and supplies. Dr. Heffel did a double take. What are you doing here, Stallwood? Just thought you'd use my services, sir, said Stallwood, all teeth and smiles. When the call went out for the emergency meeting, I felt it incumbent. You seem to have that habit, Stallwood, and I'm getting tired of it. Scientists with a triple clearance only. Out! If I may say so, sir, his spirit was never dampened. We're in administration. Stallwood might well serve as a balance to your technologies in the theoretic arena. What I have to contribute, and I'll put it to you frankly, sir, is genuine, old-fashioned Stallwood horse sense. Stallwood, said Heffel disdainfully. When I need our pencils sharpened, I will call on you. And sharp I shall make them, sir. Out! Heffel thrust the man through the door and shut it fast. The door opened. Stallwood again. Sir? Heffel slammed the door. A nauseatingly cheerful man through all his waking hours, Rupert Stallwood was an easy man to dislike. Not only because he was a phony, but because he was an irrepressible bustler who was forever poking his nose in other people's business. What made matters worse, he was a fastidious, immaculate fop and a whistler, never on key. Stallwood adjusted his tie, beamed a cheerful good morning to the two soldiers standing guard at the door, and whistling Dixie off key, stepped briskly down the corridor. Dr. Heffel returned to the table. My apologies, General. Now, where was I? Oh, yes, over here is Professor. That is enough. Doctor, barked the General. I am not here for a roll call. Yes, sir, I was just trying to... I'm here for some brain picking. The General slapped his crop against his knee. We're wasting time, Heffel. Of course, General. Everyone's attention, please. Dr. Link. That's it, Professor, said Link on the phone. I'll call you tomorrow with more input. Goodbye. He hung up and joined the others. You ready, Doctor? The General sarcastically inquired of Heffel. Anytime you are, sir. Colonel, barked the General. Captain, cried the Colonel. Sergeant, bellowed the Captain. Sergeant Duffy slid the mysterious box forward. With a series of keys, he began to unlock it. What you are about to see, ladies and gentlemen, is top secret, cried the General. The United States government will countenance no leaks. The General raised the box above the center of the table. Ever so carefully, he opened the lid and then lifted the box up again, free and clear of its contents. There was the artichoke. Without visible support, ever so slowly, a foot above the table, it floated. It made no sound. A rainbow aura surrounding it. The scientists reacted in astonishment. Instinctively, some drew back from the table. The first to recover was Dr. Heffel. What's holding it up? Nothing, barked General Stilson. He slashed the air above and below the artichoke with his crop. Amazing, uttered Heffel. Where'd you get it? Asked one expert. What is it? Inquired another. A propulsion unit of some sort, ladies and gentlemen. Never mind where we got it, the General said. We have other experts working on that. What we want to know from you is, what makes it run? No one replied. The scientist stared at the object as if transfixed. Nobody has a hypothesis? Asked the general. Somebody ventured, the energy source could be atomic. We've checked on that. Negative, said the general. Some of the scientists stepped closer to the object, but others held a respectful distance. Liz Bartlett said, could it be direct conversion utilizing thermic emission? Checked out. Negative, cried the general. He turned to Link. The general appeared to be consulting him. Link shrugged. It's not propelled by garbage, General. The cat watched intently, not a purr out of him. In the corridor, Rupert Stallwood made another pass at re-entry. Quite a bit of hush-hush going on in there, he said airily to the guards guarding the door. No response. They stared straight ahead, firmly clasping their automatic weapons. Stallwood moved towards the door. The reaction was immediate. Both weapons whipped to instant ready. Excellent, very good, men. Just a test, said Stallwood brightly. This country is in good hands, believe you me. Carry on. And he strode down the hall. He ducked into the first hallway, furtively glancing around, and then popped into a phone booth. He deposited a coin in the box and cradled the receiver on his shoulder. But instead of dialing, he withdrew a cigarette lighter from his pocket. From inside his jacket he took a metal pencil, telescoped it into a foot-long antenna, and screwed it into the lighter. Then he opened a flap, which revealed a miniature microphone plugged into an earpiece, and pressed a switch. There was a buzz. Stallwood whispered into the lighter. Jellyfish calling Olympus. Jellyfish calling Olympus. Come in, Olympus. Hello? May I speak directly to Mr. Olympus, please? Of course it's urgent. You don't think I'd... Yes, very... Thank you. He paused, then slipped a cigarette into his mouth, flicking the lighter, and lit up. Mr. Olympus. Jellyfish, sir. He capped the flame on the lighter. The lid sprang back. The lighter was still burning. I think I'm onto something. Very hot, sir. Down came the cap of the lighter. It sprang back. The flame was even higher. Very hot, sir. Jellyfish. Jellyfish? Your man at ERL? Every effort to douse the flame failed. It was now 6 inches high. Jellyfish, JELL. The flame would not go out. He stepped on the lighter. No luck. Now bent over. I think I'm onto something very... Sir, are you... In desperation he smothered the flames with his hands. Yeah! He wailed. Oh no, not you, sir. I was just... Oh, I wouldn't, sir. Don't hang up, sir, when you hear what I have to tell you. Sir? Sir? Oh, much more interesting than my last report, sir. Olympus was outraged about something. Stallwood pulled the lighter back. Well, isn't that a matter of opinion? Continued Stallwood. I still maintain that the amount of paper shredded weekly in an installation of this size could well give us the statistical insight into... He was cut short. Yes, sir, consider it dropped, sir. His hoarse voice sank as he spoke with greatest confidentiality. Well, sir, I think this is going to interest you. Right this minute, Dr. Heffel is in a secret meeting with a 3-star general and our most brilliant scientists. What are they meeting about? I don't know what they're meeting about, sir. It's a secret. There was an angry blast from Olympus. Find out? Sir, they've got armed guards with guns and... But, sir, I don't think there's any way I can get back into that... The torrent of abuse
Took a right there on Hawthorne. one, first left, second house on the right, right in front of the garage. There's seven great big